All right, hello everyone and welcome back. In this session for all you Kent Business College apprentices, we're tackling a really important topic, bullying awareness. And if you think you already know what a bully looks like, well, you might be in for a surprise. Today is all about spotting the signs that are so often hidden in plain sight. So let's just jump right in with a question. When you hear the words workplace bully, what's the first image that pops into your head? Go on, take a second, picture it. You got someone in mind? Good. I'm willing to bet you pictured someone pretty obvious, right? Maybe someone who's loud, who shouts, who's always making insulting comments. You know, that classic in-your-face aggressive type. And you wouldn't be wrong. But that's only sometimes, because the reality is the most common and, frankly, the most damaging types of bullying are way, way harder to see. They're subtle, they're sneaky, and they are designed to fly completely under the radar. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look beyond the obvious to really get what modern bullying is all about. Then we'll open up the bully's toolkit and look at the specific tactics. After that, we'll dive into digital dangers and then explore how power and position can make things so much worse. And finally, we're going to wrap it all up and talk it out. So, part 1, bullying beyond the obvious. The key thing to get here is that bullying basically has two faces. You've got the one that shouts, and you've got the one that whispers. First up, you've got direct bullying. This is the loud, aggressive behavior that's pretty easy to spot. The shouting, the name-calling, it's right there. But then there's indirect bullying. This is the sneaky, subtle stuff, spreading rumors, conveniently forgetting to include someone on a crucial email, or even sabotaging their work. It's so much harder to prove. We can also break this down into overt versus covert tactics. An overt act is public. It's designed to be seen, like humiliating a colleague right in the middle of a team meeting. A covert act, though, is hidden. It gives the bully plausible deniability. Think about constantly being left out of team chats or after-work plans. You feel it, but it's really hard to prove it's intentional. This brings us right to the bully's toolkit. Now that we've got the categories down, let's look at the specific tools or behaviors that people actually use. These are some of the heavy hitters you need to watch for. It's not just one bad day, right? It's a pattern of constant criticism, of always being the one to get blamed when things go south. It could be freezing someone out of the team or just completely ignoring their ideas in meetings, making them feel like they're not even there. And hey, don't just take my word for it. ACAS, the Advisory, Conciliation, and Arbitration Service, they point to things like constantly putting someone down in meetings as a classic textbook example of this. It's a direct hit on someone's confidence and their professional reputation. And this slide, this just perfectly captures what workload manipulation feels like. It's not just about being busy. It's about being set up with a task that's impossible. It's like you're juggling flaming torches while everyone else is just tossing around tennis balls. It's a tactic designed to make you fail and feel totally alone. Okay, next up, digital dangers. Because in the world we live in now, bullying doesn't just stop when you leave the office. It can follow you right home, sitting in your pocket. We are talking, of course, about cyberbullying. It's really just using digital tools, email, team chats like Slack or Teams, social media, to harass, humiliate, or intimidate a colleague. The platform is different, but the intent is exactly the same. So what does this actually look like? Well, it could be someone spreading a nasty rumor about you in the group WhatsApp. It could be a passive-aggressive or even an outright offensive comment on a professional site. Or it could be that barrage of angry, demanding emails that show up late at night. And here's the single most important thing to remember about this. Just because the medium is digital, the effect is just as severe. A screen does not soften the blow. The psychological and emotional impact is absolutely real. This leads us into our fourth section, power, position, and problems. Because we have to talk about how the actual structure of a workplace can sometimes protect and even encourage this kind of behavior. The most common version of this is abuse of authority. This is when someone with formal power, like a manager or a team lead, uses their position to bully the people who report to them. It's often called downward bullying for pretty obvious reasons. Now, take a look at this chart. Bullying can happen between peers, for sure. It can even happen from an employee up to a manager. But the numbers tell a really clear story. A staggering 70%, the huge majority of cases, is downward bullying from a manager to their employee. That tells us that a power imbalance is the single biggest ingredient in workplace bullying. And the examples are exactly what you'd think of when power gets misused. It's yelling at people who can't really fight back, it's threatening someone's job without a good reason, it's that public belittling we talked about, and that workload manipulation. But now it's all backed up by the formal authority of being the boss. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but knowing this stuff is only useful when we put it into action. So for our final section, now let's talk. I want to leave you all with a few questions to get our discussion going. First off, think about all those covert, subtle tactics. The exclusion, the ignoring, the withholding information. Which of those do you think would be the absolute hardest to spot or to prove is really happening? Second question, let's think about the person on the receiving end. Considering everything from cyberbullying to a manager abusing their authority, why might someone hesitate to speak up? What are the fears or the roadblocks that would hold them back? And finally, let's bring it all back to us. What is one small, practical thing that you can personally do starting this week to actively make sure every single person on your team feels included, heard, and respected? Let's talk about it.